Hi, my name is Brandon Lim, and this is my final project for Geog 168. For my final project, I decided to map out California historical earthquakes and features that be at risk if the exact same earthquakes were to strike California today. So these are examples of data that I'd used. This is public airports in California provided by the Californian government. This is California natural gas pipelines that are provided by the California Energy Commission. And these are geological faults that are provided by the city of Los Angeles. So I started this by just adding in a Los Angeles County layer, which would be the base map for anything else that would go on top of it. And then what I did was I added in epicenters of California historical earthquakes, and I clipped this layer to the LA County layer just so I can ensure that only the earthquakes in LA County are included. After that, I decided to make a buffer around each point, and I settled on a buffer of 10 kilometers, even though we don't really know the exact extent of an earthquake. After that, I added in geological faults and natural gas pipelines, and both of these layers had to be clipped to the LA County layer as well, because geological faults are over the entire California, and some of them are outside California in the oceans, and some of the natural gas pipelines, of course, carry gas in and out of LA County. And then what I did was I clipped the natural gas pipelines over the buffer radius of the earthquakes just to check if any of these pipelines would be at risk to an earthquake. So the next matter of things was to clip the buffer layers to LA County just to make sure that none of the buffer layers protruded LA County. And after that, I added in layers such as fire stations, jails and prisons, airports, hospitals, and universities and schools. And all of these also had to be clipped to the buffer radius to check if they'd be under risk of an earthquake. After that, universities and schools were merged together because I thought that there were similar feature types enough that they could be merged into a similar layer. So after adding in all the data and doing the geoprocessing, I just decided to make the map look a little bit nicer and more defined. And I started doing that with the epicenters. I made the epicenters a big star to kind of emphasize the fact that this was the epicenter of the earthquake. And then after that, I decided to make natural gas pipelines that were not at risk more transparent, so that natural gas pipelines that were at risk and in the buffer zone would be more emphasized and more defined. After doing that, I also changed points of all of these fire stations, jails and prisons, etc. And I also had to make university and schools a little bit more transparent because I didn't want them to overpower everything else just because there were so many of them. After doing all that, it was just a matter of opening the attribute tables for each value and checking how many were in the buffer zone. So 67 here. And if we go here, we can see that there's just 6 selected. And that's how I was able to figure out how many of these features are in the earthquake buffer zone. Also, I would look at airports to see if any, sorry, that's the wrong one. Open the attribute table and just check if there were any major airports that were in the buffer zone to see if any major flights would be grounded if a major earthquake occurred. And I was done with making the map after that. So once I was done making the map, I just had to go over to the layout view. I added in a legend that would go on the top, a title, a north arrow, and a scale bar, and I just exported this map and I started doing my write-up. So that's going to conclude my final project for Geog 168. Thank you for a great quarter, and I just hope that this was helpful. Thank you.